Connecting.
What up?
Oh, outside as well.
All right, good.
Wow.
Hang on, we gotta go. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Whoa, fresh.
No beard.
Wow. You
Freshly.
so
Yep.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, we can hear you pretty good. There's some, we hear birds and stuff from our.
I'll walk in here in a second. There we go. It's kind of windy over here, so we're hoping you guys can hear us all right. We don't get too much.
Yeah. Same. It's just, we're stuck inside so much. We decided
to be outside,
unstuck.
and it's kind of crispy. It's not like.
Yeah, it's super nice and rustic out here. So.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes. So let's introduce each other. Hey, I'm Mike.
Absolutely. And I'm Joe. Unleash Strength. This is my wife, Margot.
Mark.
And then Summer.
Oh, Margot.
I'm Margot. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I'm Summer. The other half.
Yep. I thought we were gonna do like a, this thing and that thing. Anyhow, I'm sorry.
But, well, I guess we've never actually met. We've talked on the phone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've seen your videos. I'm sure you've seen a few of ours. So as far as it's nice to officially go, face to face here. So
yeah.
But awesome. So yeah, we've just been going. I've been doing a lot of live videos lately, just trying to create more and more content with staying in touch with our community, especially during this kind of weird time. Trying to just, we have extra time on our hands too, so just finding ways to reach out, create more content, get in touch with people. And I've been making Fridays my kind of get up with someone in either the business or fitness communities. Done a lot of like fitness talks, but I thought it'd be really cool to reach out to you guys and have a little more like business focused discussion. Of course, people who are joining can ask any kind of questions, business or fitness, or Mike, you've grown several awesome pages as far as social media goes as well, and have grown audiences. So social media questions, that kind of thing, and just have a good discussion, go back and forth with some thoughts, and see where it goes.
Sounds awesome. Yeah, we're excited.
But yeah, kind of first things first, I'd love to hear more about like your kind of origin story, as far, especially in regards to like Rustic and Main, how you got into like, starting your own business, that whole path getting you to be an entrepreneur.
I think we both have pretty much an entrepreneurial spirit. We both don't mind doing things different, just kind of breaking from the norm, and just kind of we homeschool kind of before that was cool.
Went gluten-free before that was cool.
Yeah, we've done a lot of things just, but I think we both just had that spirit of wanting to do something different. And at the time I was working as a software developer, had been doing that for a number of years. It was a good job, paid the bills. Just wasn't really into it. I wanted to do something more tangible, and I wanted to have more freedom and more say. And basically Rustic and Main came about. I'd stopped wearing, I was doing so much typing and stuff. I got these carpal tunnel feelings like in my hands, and my regular gold wedding ring just started to feel cold and heavy. So I stopped wearing it. That probably went on for about 6 or 8 months, I guess. And then one day I was in the garage. I just thought, I'll drill a hole in a piece of wood and I'll make a ring out of it just to have something to wear. And I did that, and that's not how we make them now, but that's, I got a lot of compliments on it. People started asking questions about it. And probably from about there to maybe like a year and a half later, we launched.
April of 2016.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that happened leading up to that, but basically that was kind of the impetus, was just like a need and just paying attention to other people being interested in it. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it, both of us, and then we talked to some folks that we trusted in terms of business and said, is this crazy? Like, we're going to go make circles and sell them, and people are going to buy them. And
from a decently high paid job, right? So it wasn't he was selling ice cream on the corner and he's going to become an entrepreneur. Well, that's actually being an entrepreneur if you sell ice cream on the corner yourself. True. But it was like, benefits. We had benefits. I wasn't in the workforce because we had our 2 sons home, homeschooling them. And it was like, hey, this leap of faith from stability to what could have been like a huge amount of instability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's a huge leap.
I know, and you guys recently, it's not super recent now, but it still probably feels pretty recent, opening up your own gym and all that. And I remember you guys before that happened, and when you were launching, and then tell us about that. I'm sure you've told your audience, but our audience hasn't heard it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. No, it was a wild. It's about a 3-year process of finding equipment, finding the right space, planning it all out, and then finding everything kind of coming together to check all the boxes and actually be able to go for it. So, the long process for sure. It's a lot more. I mean, I know there's a lot of money I'm sure involved with starting with you with your machinery and everything.
Actually, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't at all.
Yeah.
Right. That's great. That's awesome. But yeah, I guess
There's a lot of money involved in other things, but
Yes,
still,
our startup was very, very small.
Yeah, ours was little. But,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's good because it's a way to manage risk as far as like you can try it out, and worst comes to worst if it fails.
Yeah.
And that was definitely like on our minds too, and like our whole kind of game plan was how do we minimize the risk and exposure. Obviously, we had to at some point take a leap of faith, but at the same time, still like you got to take the risk. But there's always ways to do it correctly, and with research, with like I said, it was years of planning. I was still working full time when we did launch the gym and everything, so we were able to supplement. We weren't taking money from the gym. We still aren't actually, but we were able to live on the my salary plus.
I'm also a wedding photographer, so I started my wedding photography business like 3 years ago. So that definitely helped us save up for opening a gym. So a lot of that went straight to equipment or just like savings, honestly. So we had money to fall back on, so we didn't have to, like live month to month or anything. So we definitely did it as best as we could, I think. Obviously, hindsight always thinks that like, I should have done this a little bit better, but
right. You could always save more money. You can always. Sorry, go ahead.
I was to say from start to finish, from having the idea that you wanted. First of all, I would wonder what you guys were doing before, and from the start to finish, from having the idea to actually opening up your brick and mortar gym. How long of a time was that?
So, I mean, as far as like when it initially wanted to, we were talking like because I had a buddy and he and I would talk, 4 or 5 years ago, we were talking about it'd be really cool to one day have a gym. And that's who I actually started like the brand with. I was, just Unleashed at first, and then Unleashed Fitness, and then he kind of went his own path. He, life that he had to do some other stuff, and things dragged him away. So Margaret kind of became my business partner, which worked out really well. She was just getting into kind of more strength training and lifting in that regard. So it kind of worked out really well. So then we started actually like really thinking about it probably like 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. I think 3 years ago I had picked up my first, more than 3 years now actually, because we've been open for 8 months. I'm thinking like 3 years before we actually opened. We picked up like our first set of secondhand weights in Virginia Beach. We were down living in Norfolk because I was working at Norfolk Naval Shipyard. We live in Portsmouth actually, but we were up here so much that it was just kind of dumb to like not be up. Our families are both in Northern Virginia, so we were driving back and forth, especially once we had a kid and the grandparents and everything. So we just moved back up. But I made my first couple purchases down in Virginia Beach, just some secondhand equipment. Most of it we actually never ended up making inside the gym, just because we found other pieces to replace them. But just the skill, that commitment.
It's like the initial impetus that kind of got it seriously rolling. Like that was more of like when it started coming together tangibly versus just being like an idea that Joe would talk about and stuff. So
sure. So I'd say a good 3.5, 4 years probably.
And then like looking for spaces, just did so much research on that, and there are so many no's. So that's what probably took the longest, which was in hindsight good for us because it allowed us to build up all of this equipment with, we didn't have to take out a loan to acquire the equipment we needed for opening, which was huge. So
that's great.
It's like because of this craziness environment right now, we're still really not able to take a salary or anything in the gym, but we've been able to save up personal savings between our Margaret's photography and my other job, so that we actually can still live fine just now without having to take money from the business and everything. So that's always the advice I've heard is just like save as much as you can and save some more. And it's true. So you never know what's going to happen, as shown by now. So
So have you guys, what state, are you guys in Virginia still?
Yeah.
Northern Virginia.
Yeah. Okay. So I think you guys might have more restrictions and We have. And longer restrictions, right? It's to June for COVID?
So we got June 10th is the stay-at-home order, but then the businesses are supposed to reopen May 8th.
Like the non-essential.
So it's kind of confusing in that regard, because we're trying, like, all right, so we can open up, but no one can come, I guess. So
I think,
Right.
It
No,
does
that makes
seem to
sense.
be contradictory, but the latest I heard is that we're allowed to open if we follow the strict social distancing standards, I think with 10 people. So that's fine because, I mean, our members want to get into the gym and we want them in and we want to be open. And that's what we were doing before we closed down anyway. So, like, we have a good system that our members are already aware of, so we can just start implementing that again. Hopefully just get the ball rolling.
And yeah, being a smaller gym, we have that advantage of being a little more flexible and being able to keep the limit. And that's what we were doing. Like Smart said, we were keeping the 10 people before we had to close down. So if we have to go back to that, we can. It's not ideal, obviously. Sebastian's going to join us for a second. This is our 4-year-old.
What's up, buddy?
Hello. How you doing?
He always likes to join videos when we're recording.
Yeah. Our baby's 17 years old, so he doesn't come sit on our lap.
No.
Yeah.
That would be awkward.
When you started with Rustic and Main, did you have any sort of like woodworking experience, or did you kind of just go get a drill and
I did.
go out?
No, I was actually so I grew up in the country, and my grandfather, both of my grandfathers had their own businesses, but my grandfather that was kind of like my father. He did a lot of construction work and stuff like that, and so took me out there when I was a kid, and we did stuff together. So we've done all that, and I've always been a tinkerer, and I had no problem working with tools and different things. A lot of the toys I wanted to play with, I had to make. Like, let's make a sword, let's make an axe, let's make a whatever. And then when I was let's make a friend. No, I was kidding. I was almost like that because it was way out in the country. But when I was at that point, I was actually making bows and arrows. Oh, cool. And so I had a lot of wood in the shop and just different things to work with, and I had some experience. But the thing is about making wood rings, it's not a skill that you pick up. It's sort of like like we're kind of getting into some metal working now with some metal rings. Yeah, and the interwebs are just filled with information on how to do things with metal. But when it comes to making rings out of wood and how to make them last and all the different components, it's really just something you have to figure out on your own. And it's very unique.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one on the market before you guys.
There's tons now. We have several people who have joined the wooden ring bandwagon.
There's a lot of competition.
His leather one.
Yeah, I got my leather one.
Hey,
on.
Oh, yay!
Very cool.
I'm excited.
Which design did you?
Sorry.
I was saying, which design did you end up getting?
We have the join or die one, and then the
right.
And then the mountains with the arrow on the other one. So they're awesome. So thank you again.
That's cool.
I'm excited to like really kind of show these to other lifters too, because they're a great alternative to like the silicone. I had a couple of silicone ones and they rip and they're just cheap. I don't really have a lot of pride in wearing them. So like this one's actually really cool. I'm excited to show people, and it can take a beating with the barbells and everything. So I'm excited to really start putting it to the test once we get back to the gym and everything. So
we definitely want you to. We want your feedback on that. So wear it out, man.
Excited to have them. So thank you. So how's COVID affecting you guys, and how are you adapting?
Well, one of the ways that it's affected us is we've moved everybody to their own homes. So we're basically running the business from 20 different locations. Yeah. So we have probably about 10 to 12 shop people, like they're in their own home shops or garages. The office people, the marketing people are working from their own homes. So we dismantled and moved everything within 33 hours.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of like idea what we were heading towards, but as soon as they gave us like a day and a half to get sheltered in place. Yeah.
So thankfully we're not autonomous, but we are. There's a sense of individuality, and a lot of self
Governance.
Yeah, self-governance in terms of like the ring crafters making things and doing that with excellence and that kind of stuff. And so there's that allows us to be agile, allows us to be mobile to a certain degree. So it really helps us out in this. So
yeah, but we had a lot of people be concerned because of their weddings being canceled. Like, you know, we've taken a hit. Our ring sales are definitely down. And we're not sure if they'll go back up during the summer when people feel more confident, or will people just push their weddings another year? We're not sure, but like we're doing okay, right? Yeah. We've done way better than I thought at this point. So
Casey joined and she said that all of the notifications are covering our faces.
I think if you swipe the comments down, how you can do it? Yeah, if you swipe down on the comments, they should be able to at least minimize a little bit.
It's like it's trying to populate like you have a beard still. Like,
yeah,
this should be covered. That's right.
Whatever. Just deal. Yeah. I know. As God intended.
Amazing. Do you think this?
All men should have beards.
There you go.
I like it. Yeah, as long as you keep it trim or let it go, whatever. But clean shaven look, but it does look good. You got a compliment on your clean shave.
Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate that.
As far as once we go back to whatever normal is, do you think like this will are you seeing things that you could actually do better once you go back to normal and cost saving? Like, do you need to have an office? Like, can you all work remotely and get rid of your lease or whatever it is? Like, are there ways to do that?
Yeah, we've thought about doing more remote work for people, and what we found is that it's the dynamic and the culture really can only exist. Not only exist, but it really exists best when people are together, and the speed of communication is so much better when people are together. May not be necessary 100% for everybody, but it's definitely for the vast majority of us to be under one roof as much as possible. It's important.
I would say some of our craftsmen we have, I think, 10 craftsmen right now. They've, some of them have pushed to be able to work from home completely. And it kind of didn't sit well in my stomach. Like, I couldn't really say this is why I wouldn't want that, right? Because production might go up. But what I've seen is that they can't share the ideas. They can't help each other improve. They can't even turn around to each other and go, hey, I'm having a problem. Can you help me? I have this great idea for this ring design. So that sense of shared knowledge is gone, and it's so much harder to do community, you know? Like, and I'm sure for you guys, community is huge with your, I read your pledge. I love your guys' pledge on your website. It's so much about community and being a whole person. So, I mean, I know that has to be big for you guys. It's huge for us to be a team, but for you guys, it's huge to be a community also.
And it's one of those things that's probably not able to like see a monetary value necessarily. So if you're doing the paper, like, sure, maybe it's cheaper to get rid of the warehouse, or the piece and stuff. But as far as like what that does to the quality and like the education among your own people and the communication and the community, like, you know, that's something that really can't put a price on. Yeah, I definitely argue with the same thing with the gym and everything. It's just like, how do I, you know, it's a selling point for us, the community, but as far as like how much does that, you know, give us per month in monetary value? Yeah, that's not there. It's just something that we want to have there, and we know it's not really something that we're going to get rid of at all. So,
right.
But yeah, no, it's awesome. It's been a struggle as far as not being able to. That's why, like I said, trying to like do as many things as possible with the videos, and we're doing a weekly Zoom call now with like members, whoever wants to hop on and just chat and talk about the week kind of thing. We've been trying to send out our weekly newsletters already, but trying to like, you know, upgrade the information in there. So we're sending them some at-home workouts, that kind of thing. But yeah, so just trying to keep that spirit up as much as possible. Nice thing is everyone's going to be so itching to get back to the gym that I feel like we're going to have a renewed energy once we get back. So that'll be really cool.
So what percentage of your people are participating in your online efforts? And I should have said this at the beginning, I'm super interested in what you guys do. I'm a group fitness instructor certified and nutrition certification from AFPA. So what you guys are doing, I love that stuff. So I'm interested to know, like, how many people of your community, or what's the percentage that are still participating online compared to when they were able to come?
So it's hard to say because we're not doing strict like programming per se, or like stuff where it's like group workouts, but like at home kind of thing. It's more of just trying to provide as much information, and we have a community group on Facebook and stuff. So, I mean, a good percentage are commenting or receiving messages and saying thanks for the workout, kind of thing. The tricky part about a lot of what we do at the gym is so like weight based and like strength training focused that it's not so much a group fitness oriented style of training. So a lot of our members don't get as much benefit from like that, if that makes sense. So it is so much where a lot of people have their own garage setups and they're doing their workouts kind of alone or getting together with 2 or 3 friends and getting their workouts in, but it's more individualized workouts, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a good percentage. Hard to put a number on it as far as like participation, because it's all in varying degrees, but it's a challenge, but something that the
biggest participation I think we've received with all this is just the fact that over 3/4 of our members have stayed on paying as full paying members through this whole shutdown. So we've been closed now, 40 days, 35 days, and I mean, we were both just like blown away by how many people were like, like no question, like I'm going to
keep supporting.
Well, they need you guys to be there when they're done, right?
Right. I mean, that's what people said. That's very affirming that they want us to be. I mean, we have an amazing community, and the people there, it's really just grown so naturally to be, without the annoying family vibe. Like, it's just like a small family, and it keeps growing, which is awesome, and organically. So we're really, really humbled by that. But yeah, we're all super excited to get back.
Yeah, I'll definitely get back to it.
I'm due July 1st with our second, so I want to get back into the gym before the baby comes. That would be
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You guys definitely bring a lot of
You don't look pregnant at all from this view. Like, I had no idea.
I'm bent in half.
Okay.
He wasn't showing it for 5 months or something, really.
6 months.
So
I think this goes for both of our businesses, but you guys definitely, I'm sure, are responsible for a lot of the energy that that your community has, and for your gym and the people that are associated with you guys. The same goes with us. I mean, I think that our attitudes during this time has a lot to do with how our team members have handled it, and but I think that's just a lesson for all business owners. I mean, we've just got to be real and genuine about, yes, this is tough right now, but at the same time, have a good attitude and try to make the best of it, because it sets the tone.
Yeah, and I just have to give a shout out to our team, because it's amazing. I think for us to go from, working at this building all together and to scatter, and I feel like our customer service and being able to stay on top of things and people's attitudes have just been amazing. Like, if the craftspeople, it's harder on them, right? They don't have the same equipment. They don't have the same things. They're actually spending a longer amount of time doing what they're doing. And their attitudes have been so great. Part of it's probably because they're like, I'm just happy to have a job at this point, right? But, it's just that the team that we put together is so solid and so willing to work together and agile. And it's been a great experience. I mean, for what it could be, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I was going to say, speaking of like team and putting together a team and stuff, and like clearly you found some amazing people to work with. Do you have like thoughts? People watching who might be entrepreneurs, or and for our sake too, as far as business owners looking to hopefully build and hire people, like what do you look for building that team? How is the decisions that go through your mind as far as like bringing someone on to your group?
Yeah,
we've had a lot of growth in this area in a short period of time, because we've grown so quickly. We've got over 20 people now.
26, including us.
Yeah, 26 people. So it's grown really quick in the last 4 years. And people will say things like, "Don't hire your friends, don't hire your family." I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that when you hire people that they come on, they're going to be like friends and family anyhow, if they do. If you're running your business right. And so I think you're ultimately looking for people who have a passion for it, like a real hunger to learn and to be involved. But they also have to have the skills. I mean, and so I'd say one of the things to do up front, and this is a lesson that we learned after a while, was always have like a trial period. Say, hey, let's give this a 2-week or maybe a 3-week trial. At the end, I'm just going to give you a straightforward evaluation and let you know if this is a good fit. And, no hard feelings either way. And I think just setting that up front, it really kind of helps set the tone instead of having all these expectations and plans and stuff like that for somebody who may have a good character fit, may not have a good skill fit, or they may have faked the character fit, and you just don't know until they get into it for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, just say you can teach a skill a lot easier than you can teach character.
Yeah.
And most of the people that we've hired, we've even known them, or the person that works with us knows them. And so we've been able to filter through people's characters a lot easier than somebody who is just having somebody on Indeed or somewhere else. Like, we basically, everybody's vouched for each other, and most of the time it's panned out. So, but when you do hire people that you've been in relationship with previously, it does muddy the water sometimes. It makes it a little harder. I think for the first couple of years, it took us a while to learn that
where the line is.
We're not obligated to keep people because we love them.
Right.
Because honestly, I love everybody, so I would hire everybody out there.
Sure.
And they're bankrupt the company. So that's, that becomes sticky. Like the gains that you get from hiring people are so high, but it does come sometimes with a bit of a cost. So
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Where do most of your people come from? Did you know them before?
We're the only people.
I thought you guys had trainers on your web page. Do you not have trainers?
True. So we do have.
That's more of a contract, right?
They're all independent trainers. So we have kind of an agreement with them. So they use our space, and we kind of promote for each other. So especially like just starting up, we had 0 members. It was kind of a mix. So some of them reached out to us. Some of them I heard about or knew or whatever, and reached out to them and said, "Look, we want to." I got a helicopter going over our head right now. So,
well, I'm glad you cleared that up.
Sound like a dog.
Funny noise.
Sound like a dog.
For your stomach, you're really hungry.
Yeah.
I think we're good. Almost. Just for a second.
Yeah, America.
Yeah, so all independent trainers, and we were just reaching out to people that we knew were knowledgeable, that we could trust, and that we respected, that we trusted, and that could, they had a client base that they could bring people over to us. And so we had worked out a really good deal where, kind of a cross promotional kind of thing. Especially when we were just beginning, we needed everyone that we could get through our doors to be there. So the nice thing about the environment is that it's a very welcoming, and it's a little less overwhelming than some other gyms, or it's not as big. It's not as just like crazy as some other gyms can get, some commercial gyms or whatever it is. And so it ends up being a really good place for one-on-one training, and someone's trying to instruct people. It's a calmer environment. It's easier to focus. I've had a lot of people say that, just like I like to train here. It's a good place to focus and learn. But we can also turn up the energy as well and kind of have that. It's a good balance there. So so it's kind of a mix of, like I said, people reaching out to us reaching out to finding good trainers, going after them and saying, look, we'll hook you up. We have a beautiful space for you to train in. You bring some people over here. We'll provide you whatever you need. So it's worked out really well. We have an awesome team.
Yeah, smart.
I'm technically the owner on paper, but
it's true.
You taking advantage of the female ownership thing?
I don't even think we have. Actually.
We haven't yet.
Okay.
Give us some extra money. Yeah, I know. But I know technically, yes. I'm capable as the owner.
Yeah. We're 50-50, and so I'm female, he's a veteran. But neither of us own enough of the percentage for it to matter. And then we've kind of figured out a lot of what we've done through the Small Business Administration or different things like that. It hasn't really mattered at this point for us. So I'm like, can I?
I had looked briefly, but it was like I didn't see anything that would actually going to help us in what we were trying to do or whatever. So I didn't really bother with it. But
So I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
I like to do interviews, so I want to throw a question out at you. So you guys are a couple business owner, and you may have covered this before on your live streams, but we're a couple business owner, and it's a different thing than I think someone who's like they're the business owner, and then you got the husband or the wife who's not, and you know what I'm saying. So what have you guys learned, if anything, since the lockdown has happened that like lessons learned as a couple, like where you're like, oh, hey, this is important to us. Anything come to mind?
What do you think?
Not bad.
On the spot.
This is
I like how
the
you
first time.
stroke your beard a little bit, like you're being wise. Really
Like
wise.
This is when you say, hey, babe, you got anything? What's that?
You go first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you meaning our personal life? Like our relationship?
I would say both. I'd be interested in like as business owners or even like, married people who happen to be business owners also.
So I'll give you an example from us. So like one of the things we realize is that we need a day at home. Like it's really important for us to just have a day together where we're like, it's getting our stuff done, whether it's bills and other kind of stuff, or it's going on a date or something like that. We just need a day away from everything else.
But even time, we were talking about Wednesdays being like in the morning, trying to get things knocked out that are like weighing us down, like family life things, or, trying to get insurance to cover something, right? Because if we're carrying that burden with us every time we go into work and we're trying to argue with the insurance people on the phone at 3:00 in the afternoon, like that's zapping our energy. So we're like, Wednesday should be like, let's take care of business for home, and let's also have conversations we need to have that we can't have while we're in the building. The ones that we just really need to, we need to talk about something for 20 minutes straight without being interrupted. So that's kind of our new takeaway was Wednesdays need to be at home to take care of those things. Make us better when we're there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, right?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think we have taken a little more appreciation with like obviously having so much more downtime to actually, so like the past 8 months has just been insane. And especially when I was working full time, it was just like, it was nonstop because it was work.
I would work in the morning until he was done. And then Joe would come after work and staff from 3 or 4 to 8. And so we weren't really seeing each other much. And like my parents were watching Sebastian and then I would go watch Sebastian. So like this has been really, as terrible as it's been nice because it's the first time we've been able to like hang out.
Just kind of like chill and have, like it was 7 days a week. It was no time off kind of thing. So
I think like kind of going off of what you said, like figuring out, it'll be extra difficult for us because we are the only staffers, the only employees, if you will, but just trying to get better at carving out, like when we're home, and we do have to be still like full time with the business still. Like even when you come back from work, like we're still making posts or answering emails and stuff, but like trying to figure out like how we can have like a cutoff time, or like Sundays, like when you leave the gym at 5, like you're done, like just like if it's an emergency, it's an emergency, but just trying to like keep some family time separate.
The tricky thing too, I guess, is that I had just gone full time at the gym before a couple weeks before this had happened. So as far as like we hadn't quite, we were still kind of just like all in at the gym before this happened, just because it needed to be, because we were trying to figure out, okay, I don't have a job now. We have to make this work to be a living. And then also this whole thing happens, and which required even more attention, because then we had to cut off memberships. We got the last like week leading up to before we closed was just insane, because we were one of the last gyms in Virginia that was still open. So we had people coming from 3 hours away to come work out. We had people trying to sign up. We had like 10 people sign up online in one day. Like, and so we had to shut down memberships. We had to shut down day passes.
It was really sad.
So it was just like really intense that last week. So like we haven't really had, now we have had time to like kind of think about it more, but as far as like getting into a routine while still working full time at the gym, we're still kind of like figuring that part out. But I think we are going to try to, Saturday was still a real long day for me at the gym. I'd go in at, usually 10 to 8 on Saturdays too. So, or 10 to 7. So we're trying to cut that back a little bit. So I'm out on Saturdays a little earlier, maybe cut Sundays a little short too. Because now that we're at a point where our memberships are pretty much self-sustaining, our gym's about self-sustaining now, it's not quite as important for someone in the staff to be there all the time or as much as we were. So we'll hopefully be able to cut back time spent there and try to have a little more quality time with the fam.
We're still
So what is it?
Sorry.
I was just going to say, what is it about? What is it that you want to get from your business that makes you feel like that's worth it? Like, what are you going to get out of it that long day on Saturdays are going to be worth it?
Well, at this point, it's definitely not money because we're not giving it.
So, I mean, in a way it is not money necessarily, but as far as like initially, especially as we're growing and starting with, we had no members, we needed to be available to sign people up no matter what time they came in, kind of thing, or at least that's the mentality. Like, as the biggest times people are coming in, we need to make sure we're there as much as possible. Well, no, she said like being there on days, like actually getting stuff. As far as like actually getting out, you can talk it a couple different ways though, like looking at it. But like as far as like what we're actually getting out of those long days is like people able to come and sign up during more options to sign up, basically.
And just like getting to know our members too.
And so
the more we're there, the more we like set the tone, and then just develop those relationships, which have really proved obviously to work out well because we have a lot of people really buying for us. So not that it's about us, it's just like this community is very, I don't know, we're friends and people support each other, and it's really good to see.
Being able to say you're friends with pretty much all your members, knowing their names, greeting them when they come in, checking on them as they work out. Like, we can't do it with everybody because some people work out at 4 a.m. It's a 24-hour gym, but for the large majority of people, it's cool being there just to see them all the time. It's a cool, I don't know, it's a cool part of it, and it really builds the community aspect of things. It makes our members know that we care about them, and it builds that bond for sure. So there's definitely that aspect of it.
That's cool.
I have a
couple questions we have for you guys.
I got some more stuff. But yeah, so as far as like your social media and stuff goes, like you've built now several pages and audiences that have just been awesome. I mean, we're talking your page right now with 30,000 followers, like, and a couple other things that you're doing and projects you have, and like what, do you have just an innate skill with social media and building community, or what do you where's that come from?
To buy all the followers, they're just bored people from India. That's what they are. No, I think both with Wolf and Iron, which is the other channel that I started, and I actually started before Rustic, and then with Rustic, I don't know if we have an innate skill. I think it's just I think the biggest thing is just putting good content out there that you're proud of, stuff that represents your brand. We've been talking about this a lot for the last few weeks, actually. Yeah. It's just, we have a lot of pictures and we have a lot of rings, but like, is it really on brand? So like, even we don't always feel like we're doing the best job, we feel like we could do a better job. And so I think a lot of it is putting things out there that are interesting, kind of like this. Finding ways, what we're finding is powerful is really finding ways to partner with other people. This is what you guys are doing, but like asking our community a question. Hey, where would you like to go? Once this is all over, right? And then when they say, I want to go to, I don't know, Ireland, right? We post a picture of Ireland and tag the photographer and some other, some other things on there. And that's kind of helps, casts an organic net a little bit wider. So we're kind of learning those things.
I would say marketing, like that specific type of marketing has been it's like our last hill to conquer. Yeah. Because you get so busy with operations and human resources and hiring and firing and skills training and how do people get along with you? Like you have all these big hills, and it's kind of like you push that over to the side for us. And it's something that
we also spend a lot of money on marketing. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's not necessarily geared to grow our audience. Our audience would probably be twice the size if it was more geared just to having a big number out there. But it's really geared towards capturing people who are in that moment, in that season where they would want, to buy a ring, or they're interested in something that we're doing.
Do we have statistics on where the 30,000 people have come from? Have they come from, they started with a paid ad and then they found us, or can you guys hear our dog?
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't usually go around and chase things, and all of a sudden she's decided she's going to be like an aggressive dog. She's not aggressive.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I would say just because a lot of our numbers match up with the number of email followers and stuff we have, I would say it's all probably in that marketing scheme of just, ads and stuff like that, which is, probably 5 years ago, when I first started 6 years ago when I first started Wolf and Iron, organic traffic was awesome. You'd put a post out there on your page and it was just, everybody would see it. And it was true with Instagram. Same thing is happening now on, what's the thing I hate?
TikTok.
On TikTok. So, it's okay if you guys like it. I don't know. But, but when you're new, when you're the new kid at the party, it's like,
right now, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's easy to get views. That's the thing. It's easy to get views, easy to get followers. And now it's more of a pay to play. And I think that's where you have to recognize that's, and you guys could definitely do that locally. One of the things, your dollars will go very far trying to advertise to your local audience, to your zip code or whatever.
And they have a different thing because their services, it's a service base, and you physically need to be there. Where we're retail, right? We're selling something that somebody doesn't have to be on premises. If
you think about it, like if we have to spend $1,000, for example, to get somebody somewhere in America to buy a ring, that's not how much we spend. But if we did, that's a big net covering a lot of people. Whereas if you guys took $100 and you spent it on, 2 or 3 zip codes in your area, that's a much more localized and targeted kind of thing. So in some ways, there's a lot of benefits to advertising with social media for a brick and mortar store. And I think that's what a lot of businesses are recognizing. They need a bigger online presence and they need to have that.
Well, and we're even finding out because we've been super successful with our paid ads, right? That got us through. But it lacks. It's lacking in some areas, so that's our big push right now. Is figuring out the organic, like getting blogs on the web page, being able to. We're talking about, do we need to hire? Gosh, like if you guys have ever looked at it, like how many jobs are within social media themselves? We're just confused about that. We were literally looking at that 2 hours ago. Like you have a strategist, you have the manager, and we're like, what in the world? We could hire for 11 people. And still not hire for everybody they're suggesting.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure that out ourselves. Like, what are the 2 hires that you need to have to be able to, and what is the job description? And I think social media changes all the time, right?
Yeah, right.
Who knew that older people cared about, like, we didn't care about TikTok until we were told by advertising people we needed to care about TikTok. And
I still don't care about it.
I know.
I'm trying to.
Well, no, absolutely, and it's hard because, like you said, the descriptions and what does your job actually cover? Because you have SEO, you've got actual like making the post, you have the actual copywriter, you have like the person who makes the content. So like, what exactly are you going to get done for me? That's hard, especially as I was looking at some agencies too, because I know it's something we need help with. I think because
we're literally doing everything.
Yeah. Well, what I'm excited about though is that
we've got suggestions for you.
Well, we've had success at create like our organic content. I feel like is pretty good, and that's what is one of our strengths, I'd say. And then as far as like pushing that to people though, and what to push to people and building, like, because I want a bigger online audience. It's just I want to build a big brand. Like that's something that is kind of important to me as far as like, of course, cultivating like our community and culture, but then ultimately as well building a more wholesome, strength training and fitness brand is something that's important to me too. So I guess kind of strategizing. I'm excited because I know we haven't really tapped into that so much. So I think once we do, we'll really be able to blow up with that. It's kind of just, figuring out where we put our priorities right now and not, being careful with our money and stuff like that right now. So it's been slow and steady growth. So,
finance the house and just go, man.
No.
You only live once.
We already sold our house, so we don't have that.
Oh, did you? Right.
Sold the house.
Yes, good job.
In-laws.
True entrepreneurs. There you go.
That's right.
Well, I love what you guys are showing, at least on the website, is that you want it to be whole body, and I think that is really missed out in the I read my fitness journals every month when they come in, and there's one thing after another about, oh, women tend to overtrain and they're having all these issues here, and all the psychological issues that come along with overexercise, under-exercise, overeating, and then now we have the new, I think it's called orthorexia, where you only eat healthy food. Right. So like it affects you socially because you're not willing to partake of anything unless like a carrot and quinoa. Right. And so
and nobody wants to eat with you. That's what you eat.
That's true. I'll eat with you though.
Yeah.
And so it's fine. to hear people, to see that you guys want to address the whole person, right? Because there's more than just strength in your body. There's strength in your mind and strength in your soul and your spirit. It seems like you guys have the idea that there's more to, like, you want to get swole, but at what cost,
Right. Absolutely. And without it being too, like, cheesy, too. Like, there's a very much, like, a lot of the cheese, like, body, mind, soul kind of thing, which is, like, good, but it's almost like a cliche,
quotes,
too.
Which, like, we obviously like will put quotes out, and they're not bad, but like making it actually more in depth than just like a feel good quote that you read on a Tuesday. I don't know, like that's like a challenge that I think having the gym, we have to cultivate naturally there first, and then kind of figure out like how that's worked, how that's happened, and then take that and try to run with it. But because like we don't want it to be like a preachy thing. Like it's not. I don't know.
It's hard to. It's hard to. No, it is. And we're trying to do that with Rustic and with Wolf and Iron. It's almost like trying to build a thoughtful culture at a time when it seems like people just want headlines and bite-sized little bits of information. Now I know that's not the case because you exist and we exist. So there's people out there that really want to be thoughtful about what it is that they care about. But I think it is more of a challenge than building just kind of, you got an itch.
Yeah, sorry.
You got to get it. It's definitely more of a challenge, but I think it's worthwhile. I think Joe, you and I talked about this maybe on the podcast. You got guys like that really started the fitness world, like Eugene Sando, who wrote amazing books about health.
Did we lose you?
No, but it's us or them.
We're in full bars.
Not Wi-Fi.
It's on full. We can't see.
Oh, we lost you for a second. There we go. Heyo.
Little dance.
I did the dance. Did you guys see the dance? I thought it was just us. But I'm gonna.
Are we gonna do questions from people at any point?
No? I don't know. I don't know how this stuff works.
Okay.
If you guys have questions, ask questions in the
for sure.
down there, just below my chin.
I had pinned a comment just to try to encourage some questions. We've got a lot of people kind of coming on and off. So, business or fitness questions, please drop them for sure.
Shall I ask this question?
But I think like with everything though, back as like the person who only eats carrots and quinoa, or on the vice versa, the person who only eats McDonald's and Burger King. It's like as everything is, it's finding something in the balance. It's finding something in the middle. Same with headline readers. It's usually not one extreme or the other. The answer is usually somewhere in the middle. And I almost like to take. I mean, you could even at the risk of being scorned by an audience here, like. The whole reaction with the COVID thing, it's like finding the balance and the proper reaction to take instead of, there are extreme reactions on both sides. We've had people say we have to stay inside for the next 2 years and we can never handshake again. We have people who from the start never took this without, we didn't have any data, we didn't have anything. And so we completely disregard it altogether. It's like, most likely the answer is going to be somewhere in between, or finding let's take this from a reasonable approach, find the best way to get through this without trying to politicize it, without trying to find having these different motives behind it, so
middle ground is it should be more popular. I don't know why it's not, but
right. And it's hard too, because at the same time, without getting if there obviously is still like objectivity and and truth and moral objectivity and that kind of thing too. So it's like middle ground without compromising values, trying to find, where that is.
Good point.
Middle ground, except I'm right, basically, is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
Or maybe we're not right, but a higher being's right.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. Argue with God.
Yeah.
But awesome. Let's see if I have any other things on. As far as like day-to-day lifestyles right now, is this anything big changes, or are you finding you're working more hours right now?
I have fallen in love with working out in my garage. I always thought that I really wanted to be around people, and I do love the idea of working out with other people. I'm big into yoga. I'm big into, I've done some sprint triathlons. I love the idea of community. But there's something about efficiency.
Yeah.
When it's all one spot in your garage, and I actually been working out in my pajamas, because that's the other efficient thing. I don't have to do as much laundry. I just get up and put my pajamas on and go on my spring bike.
I have my day PJs and my night PJs.
Yeah, and it's allowed me to eat healthier. Like I'm a vegan, gluten-free. I probably have a much cleaner diet than most people regularly, but just being caught up with work and being on premises and the hecticness of that, I've gotten pretty dependent on carbs and nuts, right?
There we go.
And
we like our carbs.
so and I'm not a fan of not having carbs or having too much protein or being extreme and stuff, but it wasn't working for me. I could tell that it wasn't working for my body. I wasn't feeling well. I was using a lot of chocolate to get myself through the day instead of sitting and eating. I don't even think I really sat and ate much, And so being able to take a step back, I really hope that's one thing I can take with me is slowing down, adding the fruits and vegetables, not just being like, I'm going to grab a handful of nuts here and then eat this random thing here, and then by the time you get 6-7 o'clock, you're hungry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're eating all your calories at night, and then you don't sleep well, so then you're groggy the next day, and then you kind of start the cycle again.
Sure.
And so I really hope that that I can stay on that. And we actually, our group, one of the things that we did is we started a Healthy Habits Slack group, which is how we communicate.
Yeah.
And I made like these bingo cards with all these different healthy habits, and so we're doing like a competition for healthy habits, and they're anywhere from like going to sleep on time or meditation or yoga and strength training. They're all on there.
That's awesome.
And I know that we have two different types of people. We have the people who a healthy habit is a very foreign idea, and we have the people who are on fire already.
Right.
So I gave it like two different ways that they could win. So either you win by choosing a couple and making bingo, and you just do it one time, and hey, maybe one will stick. And then we have some very like fierce on it competitors who are like, we're going to take each other down with as much points as possible. And so, trying to just meet people where they're at with making the right choices. So
no, that's awesome. That's really cool. Good way to stick together with everybody and hopefully carry some good habits into it.
I definitely miss going to the gym, but I like the freedom to be able to cut out during the day and go for a run or something like that.
Yeah.
That's been nice. And the weather's been really nice. So
sure. As far as like efficiency and especially with time and like availability, you can't beat a home gym in that regard. Speaking as a gym owner, but at the same time, there's pros and cons to both, obviously.
And seasons to it. So
I just have to say, thank God this happened in spring and not in winter.
Yeah, I see.
Because the mental health issues we'd all be having right now if we were stuck in the house during winter.
Yeah.
We got a question actually from Nathan Dowdy. What are some new habits that you've all started during this time that would be helpful to bring into the next season as we return to some sense of normalcy? It's a good one.
Drinking 19 cups of coffee a day. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. We covered a few. Do you guys have any?
Something that it's something that I've been wanting to do, but it's something that I've been able to actually put into practice now is actually getting a little better at a morning routine. I'm still not waking up at the same time every morning, but that'll get better once the gym opens up, because I'll actually have to get to the gym by a certain time and I'll be able to get on the routine. It's an excuse, of course, but as far as like, I have a little checklist every morning now that it's small right now and it'll get bigger as we get back into the gym and stuff, but having that morning checklist of things that I do every day to kind of and that'll, like I said, it'll keep growing or whatever, but it's just stuff like, running through our business emails. I do some online training right now, so to make sure I run through that and make sure everyone's up to date with their workouts. And then there's a few other things. I check for birthdays for our members, for our all our gym members, so if you have to wish anybody happy birthday that day. So like a few things like that, where I just have my checklist that I run through. So I'm trying to get better at kind of having those to-do lists going. So yeah, it's something I've been able to implement and hopefully continue to, and something I recommend for sure.
The all-powerful to-do list.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah. I think
he runs on coffee. I run on to-do list.
Basically. Yeah. Yeah. I think I also getting outside during the day has been really important, even if it's just 15 minutes, but ideally longer than that. It just rejuvenates me. So just planning right now, I can just kind of break away and do it. But if I'm not at home and I gotta I have to make sure basically that I bring a change of clothes and all that kind of stuff. If I want to go for a run, I just need to plan ahead. That's the main thing, instead of just moving in the truck and going.
No, it's huge.
Nathan runs on both. That's true. He does actually. We know Nathan. Yeah.
Do list and coffee. It's a good combo.
Do list and coffee.
That's my go-to as well. I kind of hit both. But well, cool. Do you guys have any other kind of thoughts as far as any budding entrepreneurs out there might be looking for some suggestions or that kind of thing as far as starting onto their business journey?
I got an idea. Can you share it? I'll share it.
Sure. That's a good one.
Well, we'll see. Let the audience be the judge of that. Give me plenty of little like hearts things if it's good.
Here we go.
Before you jump into whatever your business is, you definitely want to be passionate about it and that kind of stuff. But start with kind of the end in mind. Like, what is it you want to gain from that? What's the lifestyle? A lot of entrepreneurs, what they'll do is they'll say, all right, I got this $75,000 a year job or whatever that I'm making right now. And I want to start this business. I really just want to quit my job. I bet I could probably live on 65, maybe 60 grand a year. And they start kind of taking their expectations down. Sorry, I'm covering your face up there. Taking their expectations down. And they really don't think like, how do I want to live my life? Like, what do I want to do? What do I want my life to be like? Do I want to, maybe I want to make 6 figures a year. Maybe I want to travel more. Maybe I don't want to be tied down to a location, whatever it is.
Right.
It doesn't have to be any of those things. You need to figure out what that is. And then you need to ask a real question. Can this business support what it is that I want to do and how I want to live? And if it can't, can I innovate in some kind of way to make it do that? And I think that's really where entrepreneurs need to start, instead of they kind of shortchange themselves, Yeah.
And I would have to say that when you start thinking about businesses or going to a business and you want to find a partner or people to come along with you, I think people tend to look for people that are just like them, that they think a lot like them, makes them feel good about all their ideas, right? And that does not make good business partners. That doesn't make for a good business for everybody to be agreeable. And Michael and I, we get into it a lot, I'll say, but our personalities are the exact opposite, like our Myers-Briggs, but our personalities are the two personalities that make the best people in business, because we're so different, right?
Yeah.
He can focus on IT and I'm focusing on people. He can focus on large things and visionary things. I'm like, okay, so then how are we going to do it? Right? You really need to look for people who are different than you as you go along. And don't ever be afraid, like, stack your weaknesses, right? Like, figure out where you're weak and go hire somebody who can do something a lot better than you. Just let them be rock stars. You don't have to be the rock star the whole entire time,
Absolutely. Guys, I hate to cut you off, but we're about to get cut off by IG Live. We got 5 seconds.
Okay.
I didn't want to
Bye, guys.
while you were talking.
Thank you guys.
Everybody.